What's up, guys? Justin here, and I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of an instruction on how to build your warrior in World of Warcraft for patch 5.4. Now, I'm making this video kind of late in the season, so it's getting close to 5.5, but I mean, better late than never. Right now, this is what I have going. I'm full Grievous. I'm set up. I'm tearing things to pieces in 5.4 because right now 5.4 is a very good patch to be a warrior. So I'm going to start out with kind of my gear and gymming setup with how I prioritize my stats in my gyms. So starting off, pretty much how my priority goes as far as reforging is my priority is crit, second priority is mastery, and the third, which really isn't that valid, is haste, because you'll rarely run into a spot where you actually are going to pick haste over anything else. I'm not really sure. I don't think any of my gear has actually been reforged to haste. I actually use an add-on called Reforge It that automatically does all that stuff. You can set up your priorities and everything. It's great. For example, like right here on my Grievous helmet, I'm using the PvP Epic gem for my meta socket, which is the 665 PvP power and 775 PvP resilience. PvP power and PvP resilience has been nerfed substantially, but at the same time, it's still a very important part of your PvP playstyle. I mean, otherwise, you could just run in there with PvE gear if it wasn't that important to still have. So I run that as my meta gem. That's my personal preference. There's also warriors that do this 216 strength gem as well as the 3% critical enhance. But this is just me. As far as my red, blue, and yellow gems, my yellow gems I typically run as 80 strength and no, that's my red. My red gems I run as 80 strength and 160 critical strike rating. Pretty much all of it's optimized for crit, because right now crit is great for warriors. So red gems, they still have that strength bonus to them, but they're not full on. I keep the critical strike rating in every single one of my gems. So right there in the head socket, you can see a red gem is 80 strength, 160 crit. Then we go to my yellow gem, which is one on my shoulder, which is 320 critical strike rating added into my yellow socket. Then we'll move on to, let me see where I can find out. There's a blue. We got a blue socket, which will be 160 crit and 80 PvP power. A lot of people, they're not really sure about this, but I feel like the PvP power, even though it was nerfed a bit in past patches, it's still a good umph for when you're in PvP. Stam is like adding stamina into your gem. A lot of people do like the stamina for their blue gem, but I just don't feel like it's as significant as adding PvP power, more PvP power into your build. So those are my gems. Like, they're scattered throughout like my entire build. Like, all my pieces have the same of those three gems. Let me see if I can pull up the name of each. The orange gem is Inscribed Vermilion Onyx, which that is the orange gem that has the 80 strength and 160 crit. The yellow is the Smooth Sun's Radiance, and the blue gem is the Radiant Wild Jade. So those are the gems. Those are the only gems that I use in my entire gear set, and I use them all to match up to still get the socket bonus for each individual piece of gear. Like I said, I'm full Grievous. Everything's reforged to priority is critical strike and mastery, with all else fails haste in the very end of it. So that's pretty much how my gear's set up. Since I'm a human and I have the PvP trinket kind of built into my character, I use dual DPS trinkets. I got the Grievous Gladiator's Insignia of Victory and the Badge of Victory. So I have an on-use PvP DPS trinket, and one that procs. I'm using a add-on called Extra CD to kind of notify me right here when my PvP proc trinket goes off. So then I add actually into my burst my on use PvP trinket, and I typically try to sync that up with when my dancing steel as well as my proc PvP trinket does go up, so I can maximize my damage. And I'll be going over macros and all that stuff in a video following up this, but this is just kind of cover the basics. So that's all about my gear, how my guys set up. We'll move on to pretty much my spec and abilities that I typically go with.